adequate revenue to meet our country's financial quest and support the country's economic agenda. With your permission, Your Excellency, allow me now to welcome the Chairman of Finance and Planning Committee of Parliament, Mr. Kimani Kuria. Welcome, Mheshimiwa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Your Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this is a great day for the taxpayer of this country. A day to realize that the sweat and the sacrifice they make for their republic goes towards development of this republic. Your Excellency, I know the reports around our media houses have said that Kenya Revenue Authority missed their target by 79 billion shillings. But most importantly, Your Excellency, is that KRA surpassed their first quarter generation of taxes by 45 billion shillings, equivalent to 8.4% increase in revenue growth. And this is truly recommendable. Your Excellency, when you had stakeholders engagement during the passing of the Finance Act of 2023, Kenyans told us expressly that they want to be involved in the running of their country. They want to be involved in how their taxes are being paid. In these last few weeks, Honorable Your Excellency, we've seen Kenyans coming to us and telling us ways of raising even additional revenues. Most interestingly, Your Excellency, this week we had Association of Cryptocurrencies and Bitcoins telling us how that is a great place for us to tap to increase revenues for this republic. This means that majority of Kenyans want to be tax compliant, want to pay tax, and want to grow our economy. Your Excellency, this week has treated us to quite some news in our airports about the screening of goods that are worth more than $500. And I know many people have put KRA to task saying that this behavior is primitive and maybe $500 limit is too restrictive. But it's important to put it on record that this is a piece of law, the East African Community Customs Management Act of 2010, that's supposed to be implemented across East African community states. And therefore, the Kenya Revenue Authority are just doing their job. However, Your Excellency, it's very important to recognize that if we have a restrictive environment that goes against your message out there that Kenya is open to do business, that we can come here visa-free and do business for the Republic of Kenya, maybe those people might choose to go to other countries, or our brothers, the hardworking brothers and sisters in the diaspora who bring so much money in terms of remittances might not feel so much happy to come back home. And therefore, Honorable, Your Excellency, and I'm used to speaking in Parliament, that's why it's usually Honorable Speaker. So Your Excellency, with consultation with the leadership of the National Assembly, we are reviewing this act with the remarks of Kenyans so that we make our entry points into the airport more friendly, more accommodative, so that we make Kenya the country that you're marketing out there, the best destination in the world. And therefore, Your Excellency, we'd like to really thank you for the leadership that you've given us, because I truly believe as a young person, we are not truly independent until we are able to self-finance ourselves and our budgets. We are not truly sovereign until we are able to fund ourselves as a country. And those few remarks, Your Excellency, allow me to welcome the Leader of Majority, my senior, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, to make his remarks. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Chairman Kimani, Your Excellency the President, our Deputy President, the Prime Cabinet Secretaries, and all protocols observed. Your Excellency, it is indeed a great honor for many of us in Parliament, both in the National Assembly and the Senate, to be here this afternoon, together with KRA and the taxpayers of Kenya. Your Excellency, as the Chairman has ably put it, we cannot and we shall never be fully independent until we are able to independently fund our government and our budget through our own resources raised in the country. And I must take this opportunity, Your Excellency, to commend KRA for the good work they are doing, but more so to appreciate the patriotism of the many Kenyan taxpayers who have come out to pay their taxes diligently and on time. Your Excellency, from Parliament, we have committed, and I was just sharing with my brother Watanga, the Commissioner General and the Chairman of KRA, that we shall do whatever it takes in Parliament to ensure that we pass legislation that will not only make it easier for KRA to collect revenue, but also make it easy for taxpayers to be able to make their returns and pay their taxes in time. Your Excellency, I do not want to spend a lot of time. In the interest of time, allow me, with a lot of respect, to now invite the Cabinet Secretary of the National Treasury, Professor Njuguna Ndung'u, to make his remarks. Thank you.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency, Honorable Ruto and Gachagua, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, my fellow Cabinet Secretaries, the Principal Secretaries here present, Chairman and Chairman of the Board of Directors of Kenya Revenue Authority, and the Commissioner General of the Kenya Revenue Authority, members of staff of KRA, distinguished taxpayers, good afternoon. Your Excellency, it is indeed a great privilege to us that you have created time to preside over the 2023 National Taxpayers Day as we honor our distinguished taxpayers today. Your presence today is a strong testament of the value and even importance you and your government have attached to the taxpayers, especially to those exceptional individuals and businesses that diligently honor their tax obligations. Your Excellency, today marks the culmination of 2023 Taxpayers Month celebrations, a series of events and even activities designed to engage with all taxpayers have actually been accomplished. These initiatives aim to reflect on innovative ways to revitalize our tax administration by adapting to the ever-evolving tax landscape and even the dynamics in the economy. We acknowledge that any country's sustainability and economic growth depends on its ability to generate revenues to finance development. The importance of domestic resource mobilization as a key driver of the development agenda is thus well established. Your Excellency, in recent years, the country has faced significant economic challenges from a series of devastating negative shocks that have led to a prolonged economic recession as well as inflation challenges. However, despite these challenges, we have witnessed positive signs of economic vibrancy. The economic vibrancy is evident in the improved revenue performance. I wish, therefore, to take this opportunity to appreciate the taxpayers for their resilience and contribution towards this achievement. I also appreciate the board and the management of the Kenya Revenue Authority for their selfless dedication and continued commitment to their mandate, even in the face of turbulent socio-economic times. We shall continue working together and intensify our revenue mobilization quest that will ensure that we adequately finance the country's budget and support the government's bottom-up economic transformation agenda better for a sustained economic recovery and a sustained economic vibrancy. Your Excellency, domestic resource mobilization remains a major source of long-term financing for sustainable development across the world. In order to address this, a number of countries have embarked on the development of a strong framework for guiding tax reforms to enhance domestic resource revenue mobilization. In this respect, the National Treasury and the Kenya Revenue Authority, with the support of development partners and bilaterals, have embarked on the development of the medium-term revenue strategy to enhance domestic revenue mobilization over the medium term. The strategy will guide tax administration to improve efficiency in the administration of tax laws, create tax rates that will enhance compliance and build a tax base. The strategy is expected to strengthen the policy dimension towards fiscal consolidation process with a target to achieve the East African Community Convergence criteria of fiscal deficit of 3% of GDP. Your Excellency, as I conclude, allow me to refer to the media reports that my chairman of Finance and Planning in Parliament has also alluded to, that the government has introduced more taxes and targets to charge additional taxes on personal effects of traveling passengers and visitors at the point of entry. Your Excellency, we have a formal process through which we effect changes to the tax registrations, usually through the finance bill. The last time we made any changes in the tax bill, in the tax system was in June 2023 through the finance bill that took effect from July 1st. And that is what we are implementing so far. I therefore wish to assure our visitors and all travelers to this country that no new taxes have been introduced and that the process of our entry points is smooth and diplomatic, and the customs officers of the KRA have been instructed to ensure this remains the process that is also seamless and should not mishandle our visitors and travelers. Your Excellency, that is a position that we want to make sure that we clarify. Your Excellency, with your permission, allow me to invite His Excellency Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, to make his remarks and invite Your Excellency to address our distinguished taxpayers. Welcome, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the CS National Treasury, Chairman KRA, Commissioner General, distinguished taxpayers, good afternoon. Your Excellency, before I say one or two things and then invite you to talk to these great people, let me introduce the Cabinet colleagues who are here, starting with the Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Pigiani Makofi. We have Simon Chelugui, the CS for Cooperatives and SMC. The Honorable Salim Mvuria, our CS for Mining and Blue Economy. Mr. Davis Chirchil, our CS for Energy and Petroleum. The Honorable Senator Kipchumba Murkomen for Roads and Transport. And our PS for Transport, Mohamed Dagar. Who is there? Oh, the Honorable Aden Duale, the Minister for Defense. Your Excellency, I have only two things to say. One is to assure the taxpayers here as present, indeed the Kenyan nation, that those of us in the executive who work under the President have very clear and unequivocal instructions from the President that all taxes, all funds collected from taxpayers and given to us through appropriation by the National Assembly must be used prudently and for the purpose for which they have been raised. And the President is clear that his government will not entertain leakages, pilferage, misappropriation, corruption, and irresponsible spending of taxpayers' money. As early as this morning in his opening remarks, as he was chairing cabinet, once more he has reminded his members of the executive that funds must be used prudently for the purposes for which they have been collected. Indeed, his call that mambo ni matatu revolves around taxpayers' money. It is around that space. Number two, I also want to assure the taxpayers present here and the rest of the country, and indeed the people of Kenya, that there has been a debate about visits by the president out of the country, where some critics, for being ignorant and not having proper facts, thinks and advances an argument that funds are not being used prudently. I want to assure the taxpayers and the people of Kenya that every journey that has been planned for the president outside the country is carefully planned and has an economic gain to the people of Kenya. And the president travels because there is a gap. We are not able to meet our development and recurrent expenditure from what we collect from the taxpayers. And therefore, the president must travel to look for investors, to engage multilateral institutions, to bridge the deficit. And I want to assure the people of Kenya, as we see today, these high-profile visits by the president have already started showing good signs. And it's also important that we tell the people of this country, for every visit the president has made to another country, another president or prime minister has also come to Kenya, because this is reciprocal diplomacy. And as we speak today, because of anchoring the country properly in the international stage, Kenya is now the destination of choice for investors and for tourists. And coming from the COVID challenge, where our tourism sector almost came down, I want today authoritatively to inform the people of Kenya that tourism has picked up for a good turn, and as we speak today, all hotel rooms in Mombasa, in Masai Mara, have been booked up to February next year. So anybody who wants to travel to Mombasa for Christmas and you have not booked your room, you just have to go to your village and relax there with your ancestors. And we are encouraging the people of this great city of Mombasa and other cities to consider traveling up country and avail their homes here for tourists, because that is good for the country in terms of foreign exchange earnings, in terms of creating employment. So ours is just to give that assurance on behalf of those who work with the president that the money that you pay will be used prudently. With those many remarks, please be upstanding and help me to usher in the President of the Republic of Kenya to make his remarks. Mr. President.
Please, let's take our seats. Asante sana. You all agree it is good to have a deputy. Saa zingine anakutetea. Distinguished taxpayers, I am very happy to be with you as we celebrate this year's National Taxpayers Day, a very unique and special moment in our national calendar, whose significance needs to be fully appreciated by those of us in this room, the many taxpayers across Kenya, and every Kenyan for that matter. This occasion is not intended to focus on the success of the National Revenue Administration body in performing its constitutional and statutory function, because in any case, that is their responsibility. Rather, this day is special because as a nation, we are taking the moment to appreciate exemplary individual and corporate citizens for their patriotism and commitment to the performance of their civic obligation to pay tax in our country. Our economy has been navigating unprecedented turbulence for a while now due to factors beyond our control, including devastating shocks emanating from geopolitical as well as extreme climate events, a pandemic, and recession in between, which cumulatively led to the lower performance and high inflation. What stands out as extraordinary development is that even during this period of serious difficulty, our revenue performance continues on the path of growth, indicating that our economy is demonstrating enormous resilience. This shows that Kenyan workers and enterprises remained hardworking and dedicated, and that our taxpayers did not use global and local economic challenges as an excuse to evade the performance of their fundamental duty. It also shows that Kenyan taxpayers defied many expectations, not just to survive, but to thrive and enhance their contribution to national development. This, ladies and gentlemen, is why we are here to celebrate. There are many who would have created all manner of excuses not to contribute and not to live up to their obligations, but they chose to do the right thing. And that is why we are here to celebrate all the taxpayers, small and big, individual and corporate, today. A year ago, I announced the beginning of a new era in our national economic governance and management, which required us to live within our means and invest in production and productivity. I also declared that the National Tax Administration mechanism had to change and become more facilitative, service-oriented, and supportive of compliant taxpayers. The best way of supporting compliant taxpayers is by engaging them in positive and affirmative ways, which make it easier and simpler for them to remit taxes, and by expanding the tax base through the registration and facilitation of more eligible taxpayers to enhance burden sharing. Events like the National Taxpayers Week are essential to the achievement of the taxpayer engagement objectives if they are not treated as mere annual rituals, and are undertaken with a measure of meaningful positive interaction between the Kenya Revenue Authority and their clients, all of us who are taxpayers. As I announced at the last National Taxpayers Day, the time has come for the Kenya Revenue Authority to undertake a comprehensive culture change to make it aligned with the revenue mobilization imperatives of a new constitutional dispensation, governing platform, and strategic realities, and of course, the economic conditions under which we live. This is the spirit in which the KRA recently recruited specially trained revenue service assistants as a move to enhance the revenue mobilization capacity and taxpayer compliance through service-oriented, citizen-centric methods of facilitating voluntary compliance in keeping with our fundamental commitment to decriminalize enterprise and enable all levels of business from micro, small, medium enterprises all the way to global multinational companies to meet their tax obligations. The KRA must therefore continuously demonstrate a singular commitment to new service-oriented values and signal a departure from the abuses and excesses of previous times, which only served to elicit resentment and encourage evasion while facilitating wastage, sometimes even theft, embezzlement, and other corrupt activities. KRA, I am sure, now knows that it is possible to be courteous, kind, and gentle to taxpayers, and at the same time become even more effective and efficient in tax collection. I am sure they know that. This applies to all persons in public authority when dealing with members of the public, all of us who have public authority. What is required is the exercise of greater imagination, commitment to national values and principles of governance, and the use of technology and innovation to improve service delivery. And I note with appreciation that the KRA has been undertaking reforms in this direction, which include the use of technology to integrate the taxpayer revenue administration systems to all real-time and automatic exchange of actionable data. And I want to commend what has been achieved in this space between the KRA and all the other people in between. Our decision to significantly enhance efficiency and integrity in the provision of public services to citizens by digitizing over 13,000 government services has gone a long way to enhance revenue performance. Monthly revenues, for example, from fees have already risen to about 8 billion from 2 billion monthly, an increase of close to 400% on the e-citizen platform. As we can all see, the interventions leading to improved performance are efficiency, integrity, and it is also service-oriented. Make it easier for people to pay tax, and this is exactly what we have done with the e-citizen platform to make it seamless for people to pay their tax. In fact, what we agreed with KRA is that it is not necessary to wait until 20th for people to calculate what amount of tax they need to pay. If they can pay taxes instantly, that would go a long way in making it possible for KRA to collect our taxes and for manipulation not to occur on matters to do with the tax. We all agree that if somebody stays with your money for a whole month, they will begin to figure out what to do with it before they send it to you. And sometimes it is none of their choices, but it is just the temptation of having money within. So the sooner we can collect our taxes, the less the temptation on those who are having this money, and the more efficient we become. I'm sure members of parliament were wondering why we said that certain taxes should be collected within 24 hours. So they were asking, what is the magic with these 24 hours? We were just trying to assist many corporates who said, if you can collect your money sooner, then we will all be happy. And there are many companies who are very happy that we are collecting our taxes sooner, faster, much more efficiently, and eliminating the temptation for that money to be used in other ways. I will repeat this. Not only is it possible to be efficient and effective while being courteous and considerate, it is the only way to serve taxpayers and other members of the public. It is not necessary for effective revenue collection to be unpleasant or demeaning to taxpayers or members of the public. We can combine efficiency, effectiveness with courtesy and being handling our clients in a courteous way. The implementation of a national digital identity framework, which I must say is already underway, will also go a long way in facilitating the collection of relevant data for revenue mobilization. In fact, it is our intention that in December, next month, we will formally launch our national digital ID framework that Kenyans can now identify themselves digitally, and you do not have to carry your ID. You can have it on your phone. I recognize the cardinal obligation of government to utilize all revenues prudently and efficiently in the service of our citizens. This commitment stands, and we are committed to do so with maximum transparency and maximum accountability. This is why I use every moment to publicize what government is doing for the people of Kenya, because that is how our taxes are meant to be used, should be used, and the people of Kenya are encouraged to keep us in check as we spend their resources. I will in due course provide a more elaborate formal account to sustain this engagement and provide comfort that none of the resources committed to my charge is being wasted or mismanaged or stolen. The bottom-up economic transformation agenda identifies the significant improvement of productivity in key areas as an urgent priority for national economic governance efforts. Such improvements require immense investments, and the resources to invest come from the revenues we collect as taxes. There is simply no space for wastage or corruption, because that would be the recipe for disastrous failure. Our tolerance for corruption, therefore, is absolute zero. In line with this, today, the Cabinet approved Public Audit Amendment Bill 2023, which will enhance the Auditor General's independence and transparency to ensure proper utilization of public resources through audits, and also provide power for fraud investigation. This has been a challenge in the past, but we have said as a government that believes in accountability, we must give the institution of the Auditor General's office the necessary capacity, leeway, and latitude for them to hold every government agency and every government ministry and the whole of government accountable to the people of Kenya through audits, and make sure that we spend the people's money efficiently. It is important that our government, or that as government, we communicate this commitment clearly, because the citizens and taxpayers deserve to know it as a matter of right. Our taxpayers are supporting national transformation by financing the provision of public services, strategic investments, and our other national revenue sovereignty requirements. Over the past year, there has been undeniable improvement of our revenue performance, thanks to the efforts of Kenya Revenue Authority. This is partly due to enhanced performance by KRA, which is commendable, even though there remains vast room for both quantitative and qualitative improvements. And as you heard from the chair of the Finance Committee in Parliament, many Kenyans have ideas, many institutions are stepping forward to work with us on how we can raise revenues locally. And I am very proud. A while ago, the conversation was how much of the debt is allocated to even children who are not yet born. Public debt. I am happy that this time around we are having a conversation about not debt, but taxes. That is significant improvement. We have moved away from how much debt we are accumulating to how much tax we are paying. I think that is, we are in the right place. We are having the right conversation. And it is because I did commit to the country that we are going to begin the journey to wean ourselves from living beyond our means, living within our budgets. If we must cut down on our budgets so that we can live within our means and avoid the slippery path towards accumulating debts. Instead, have the conversation not about how much debt we are accumulating, but about how much taxes we are paying. And we are well in that conversation as we talk. The undeniable credit for our sustainable economic resilience and continued ability to meet our local and international obligations, provide services and invest in economic transformation goes to taxpayers who have remained outstanding in their commitment to the strength of our economy, well-being of the people, and sustainable development of our country. We celebrate all our taxpayers today. I know we will celebrate those who have done very well, but we must also celebrate all those who have made their contribution to where we are today. I urge all Kenyans to respect and honor those amongst us who perform their part in supporting national development by voluntarily paying their taxes, and encourage those who have not to register and obtain KRA personal identification numbers and join the ranks of our patriotic mashujaa who keep the wheels of our development in motion by paying their part of taxes. As always, I remain committed to lead from the front on this matter of great national importance, to pay my taxes when they fall due and submit my tax return on time as is required. I will continue to lead from the front and expect everybody to walk in that journey. I must also commend all the actors in this space. I know, for example, in the education sector, we have made a huge commitment. In fact, because of the centrality of education as an equalizer, and because of the importance of our human capital as the biggest resource, most important resource we have as a nation, we have focused extensively on funding education. If you compare last year, the education budget last year was 545 billion. This year, including what we have factored in the supplementary that is now in Parliament, it is improving from 545 billion to 690 billion. A whole 145 billion additional money for our education. And this is deliberate. It is deliberate because we believe every child in Kenya should have a chance at life by making sure that they have access to education. Our budget to TSC has increased by about 20 billion because we are hiring additional teachers. 56,000 teachers are on our payroll, additional teachers this year. We are increasing the money going to our universities by a whole 48 billion. So what I see in the horizon is an improved human capital that we have developed. The money that is supposed to go to our TVETs and our universities and the space outside TSC is about this year 252 billion. Last year, it was 204 billion. So in just that space, we are increasing by 48 billion that is going to go into that space. And already, contrary to reports all over the place, we have released 62 billion out of that 252 billion. And I want to commit to the country that we are committed, we are serious, we are determined to make sure that we fund our education appropriately, contrary to what we have seen in the past, where universities were languishing in debt and were completely unable to deliver on their mandate. The Ministry of Education, Ministry of Finance will ensure that we educate all our children. It is a commitment that we have made. It is a commitment we intend to keep. I want to congratulate all the exemplary taxpayers who have been recognized under various categories. Your work is admirable and your contribution historic and transformative. Well done to all of you who are being recognized today. Keep it up, and let us see you again next year performing better. And for those of us who are not in this category, let us strive so that we are in this category next year. I want to ask KRA to think about the scripture. There was a lady who gave an offering of, I think it was 2 cents. And Jesus said she had given the most because she gave everything she had. So I think consider the smaller guys who give 100% of what is due from them. It may be small, but they have done 100% of what is due from them. Maybe these big boys, maybe they are doing 80% of what is due. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying maybe, I'm just making a proposition. So let's look at the small people also who meet their obligation and give 100% of their taxes. Let me encourage all of us that what KRA is doing is not about KRA, it's about us. It is our responsibility, all of us as Kenyans, to make sure that each one of us pays tax. I got a very interesting message yesterday from a patriotic Kenyan, and I sent it to the Commissioner General of KRA yesterday. Si ulipata Bwana Watanga, you know, about a Kenyan who is saying, look, there is this company here who don't pay tax and they threaten people because there are some big people, it belongs to some senior guys. And so I sent the contact to the KRA CG, and I told him, however big, however senior, however powerful, the owners of that company, they must pay tax like all other Kenyans. And that nobody should threaten KRA using their positions, using their connections, using their power for them to avoid paying tax. We must all pay tax. And once we are paid tax, let us demand from government that our taxes are used in the proper manner. They are not stolen, they are not corruptly used, they are used in the proper manner. I am really looking for that day when we all pay tax and demand from government that that tax is used properly. We have given a target to KRA of 3 trillion this year. I know it is achievable. I know it's doable. And next year, I know we can do 4 trillion. I am looking at the day when we will not have any fiscal deficits. And it is not too far from now. Because If everybody paid their bit, we would not need all the fiscal deficits that we have, if everybody paid their bit. There is still a lot of money out there. There are still many people who are not paying tax. Slowly but surely we will speak to them, we will talk to them, we will encourage them, we will work with them until we all pay tax. That's all we need to do. The rest can be achieved. So, and as I have said, it doesn't have to be punitive, it doesn't have to amount to harassment, but we must be firm, we must be decisive, and everybody must keep their part of the bargain. And that is my encouragement to all of us as Kenyans, that our independence, our sovereignty, is when we can manage our own affairs, when we can meet all our obligations, when we can pay for all the services that are due to us and fund all that we need in Kenya. And I am very confident that that is doable if we do this together. We will continue to work with all the other stakeholders. We will continue to leverage on technology. I'm very happy with what I see around the technology space. The taxes that are now being collected using technology, as I said earlier, we are looking at up to 400% increase in taxes that are being collected using technology. Progressively, as we digitize government services, as we make sure that all other avenues of government are coming on the digital space, I am very confident that we will collect all the taxes that are due to the government of Kenya, and we will all benefit from the use of those taxes, and we will begin the journey to wean ourselves out of the appetite for debt all over the place. Let me also say that we are making significant progress with our diplomatic relations, engagement with our development partners, engagement with multilateral development banks. We are making a lot of progress with our DFIs, the engagement between government of Kenya and the understanding of what is required of us and what our obligations are and what our commitments are very progressive. I want to commend Treasury for leading the way, working with our multilateral development partners, working with our bilateral development partners to make sure that we secure the interests of Kenya and make sure that we are pushing on our progress. And I am very confident that that space is being managed very well under the leadership of Professor Ndung'u and his team, and all the people in that space, and continuously they will engage with the different ministries to make sure that we project the right image of Kenya and we manage our resources and affairs in a way that is transparent, accountable, and in a progressive manner so that we can unlock the huge potential that exists in our country. I want to tell every Kenyan listening to me that we have a great country. And this country is going to go places. I am very confident we are going to transform Kenya into a country where all of us will feel confident and all of us will be proud to be Kenyan. That is the commitment that I make to everybody here. And each and every one of us, as I said yesterday, must pull their weight. There are opportunities out there. There are opportunities we are rolling out. We want every Kenyan to calibrate their place, make their contribution, look at the opportunities that are available, appropriate those opportunities so that each and every one of us can make a contribution to taking Kenya forward, and work with whatever interventions we are working on as government to take our country forward. So thank you very much. God bless you all, and God bless our great country, Kenya. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. One more round of applause for His Excellency. And as we all are aware, today is the Taxpayers' Day, and we have an award that we would like to present to them. And at this point, Your Excellency, with your permission, I'll invite Angeline Mutua, who's the Chief Manager HR, who is going to read out the awardees, and then they will, just join us on stage to receive. At this point, yes, we may take our seats. Allow me to also just invite the Commissioner General, the Chair, CS Ndungu, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, and the Deputy President to just be witnesses as they receive their awards. So how we're going to do this is we'll have the awardees come, receive the award, then come on this side, we'll finish off with the photos. So I'll now hand over to Angeline Mutua, who's Chief Manager HR, to read them out as they proceed to come. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the President, the following taxpayers are presented for the Presidential Distinguished Taxpayers Award for the financial year 2023-2024. Top Tax Club. This award is presented to the school that stood out in promoting tax compliance in the local community through innovative ideas and tax literacy activities. The award goes to two schools, Nakuru Girls High School and Kanga High School. Top Tax Society. This award recognizes the university that has made the greatest efforts to improve tax compliance and literacy in the local community through innovative ideas and activities. This award goes to Kisii University. Most Facilitative Customs Practitioner. This award recognizes a customs and border control practitioner with high compliance, efficient customs operations, timely processing of documents, and minimal importer complaints. The award goes to Consul Base Limited. Top Regional Taxpayer Category. This category recognizes top taxpayers in each of Kenya's 6 tax regions who have demonstrated full and timely voluntary compliance across all tax heads while paying the highest amount of taxes. Nairobi Region award goes to Flexi Personnel Limited. Southern Region goes to East African Commercial and Shipping Company Limited. Central Region goes to Unison Savings and Credit Cooperative Society Limited. Western Region goes to Luala Community Health Center. South Rift Region goes to Imarisha Savings and Credit Cooperative Society Limited. North Rift Region goes to Rupa Real Estate Limited. Growth Award. The award recognizes the taxpayer with consistent growth in corporate taxes paid relative to turnover while demonstrating exceptional compliance in payment and filing across all tax heads. This award goes to Quality Meat Packers Limited. Teams E-Teams Award. This award is given to the taxpayer that onboarded on teams within the provided timelines, constantly made transmissions, submissions, and payments, and paid the highest amount of taxes relative to other teams, E-Teams players. This award goes to Tropical Heat Limited. Top Authorized Economic Operator. This award recognizes taxpayers that comply with customs and domestic tax laws, file timely returns, and pay import taxes within set timelines while largely contributing to revenue. The award goes to Apex Steel Limited. Most facilitative public sector division taxpayer. This category acknowledges taxpayers who have gone above and beyond in supporting the authority's revenue collection at the country level. These taxpayers have maintained responsive relationships at the account management level while fully and timely complying with all tax requirements across all tax heads. This award goes to the Controller of Budget. Most facilitative government agency in border control. This award category is intended for the government agency that has consistently worked with KRA to facilitate key tax administration, compliance, and enforcement initiatives across border points within the financial year. The award highlights the importance of the whole of government approach in tax administration. It goes to Department of Defense. Top exporter. This award is dedicated to the taxpayer that demonstrated high levels of compliance with customs laws, files timely returns, and handles high volumes of exports. This goes to Base Titanium Limited. Top importer, non-oil. This award is dedicated to the taxpayer that demonstrated high levels of customs law compliance, timely filing and payment of import taxes, and handling high volumes of non-oil cargo. This goes to Kappa Oil Refineries Limited. Top taxpayer, petroleum oil. Top importer, petroleum oil. This award is dedicated to the taxpayer that demonstrated the highest levels of compliance with customs laws, adhered to timely filing and payment of import taxes, and handled the highest volumes of imported petroleum oil cargo. This goes to Vivo Energy Kenya Limited. Your Excellency, sir, the top taxpayer category. This award is presented to the taxpayer that paid the highest taxes and has demonstrated exceptional compliance in payment and filing across all tax heads. These are two categories. Top taxpayer, medium taxpayer category goes to Indra Limited. Top taxpayer, large taxpayer category goes to Safaricom PLC. Simple, transparent, and honest. Your Excellency, sir, the Outstanding and Compliant MSME Taxpayer Award goes to a taxpayer in the informal sector who demonstrated high tax compliance through timely filing and payment of taxes. This goes to an individual by the name Habib Hanif Jian. He operates a restaurant in Mombasa. Let's applaud to all the awardees. Let's give a round of applause to all of them. Thank you. I will hand you over back to Mr. Getonga.
Thank you very much. And at that point, Your Excellency, with your permission, would just like to take a few photos. So with your permission, sir, I'll just request that those who are on stage to just take the bottom line, then all the awardees from the side you are, kindly take the third step here so that we can have the photo taken. From that side, the third step, I'll need you to come on the third step right here so that we're behind the principal.